Come manifest your best life with 190 Vision.
Hey,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Now, I've been thinking when we have so many individuals that contact us through 190Vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they come in and they give us a list of all these concerns that they have, whether it's health related, relationship related, whatever it might be, job. And we've seen so many people's lives change one way or the other, right?
Right.
And so I was thinking, today I'd like to find out from you, from your perspective, right? Instead of talking about the other people, how about your experience, since you were exposed to, I wouldn't say 190Vision, but to the teachings itself or the idea of the Ascended Masters to where you are now. What has that been like? Knowing, for example, that you were a very strict Catholic. I mean, when I met you, you were thinking about being a nun.
Mm-hmm.
And you were obviously serious about that. And all of a sudden, my friend at the time, my best friend at the time, talks to you about the Ascended Masters. And now here we are, you're talking about the Ascended Masters. And you live your life a little differently. But I noticed that we're still Catholics. Both of us, we still raise our kids and our entire family. We're still Catholic. It seems to me like either there's a disconnect there somewhere, because I know that our priest at the Catholic Church, he's had a meeting with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's told me with no hesitation that I should stop the activity with 190Vision, right?
Yes.
And my response was,
No.
yep, it's not happening. And we went through the reasons why.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us about you and your journey and the changes that came about and how you see it and how you feel about it. It's a long question.
Yes, very long. Thanks for the great long explanation as well. The first thing I want to say is that experience, what you experience, that's the thing that you follow because you've been through it. It's your experience, right? And my experience learning about the teachings and learning about the Ascended Masters is what helped me to change. I used to live a life of fear. And
Okay, so, sorry to interject if you don't mind.
Uh-huh.
So you said that you used to live a life of fear.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What were you afraid of?
The biggest thing, going to hell when I die.
Oh, okay.
That I would become possessed like what you see in the Hollywood movies.
Now, why would you, first of all, think that you're going to go to you-know-where, and on top of that, be like the exorcist person?
Because that's what was portrayed to me in my upbringing, that we're sinners. And the priests that I listened to growing up, which was the majority of my childhood, everything I did basically was a sin. Everything I did was wrong. Looking at someone in an unkind way, well, that's going to give you time in purgatory. It could be anything. And so I felt like I was this horrible person. And that's why I wanted to become a nun, so I could erase all those things. That way I could be in a controlled environment with no access to the outside world. That's one of the convents I wanted to join. And I could just pray and repent and be able to at least serve my time in purgatory and possibly make it to heaven.
Okay. So then...
That also, to answer the question about the possession.
Oh, right.
That fear was there because one of the things that was impressed upon us is as you live a sinful life, it's easier for you to become possessed by the devil. So,
okay,
that's where all that came from.
And so, as far as you were concerned, you were living a sinful life.
Yes.
Because of the way you were looking and thinking about people and maybe treating some people not so nicely.
Right.
Okay.
And that I was surrounded by people who didn't care about their souls, which meant that they probably had demons around them, which meant that they could transfer to me and I could become possessed. Yeah. Yes.
Hold it. What do you mean you were surrounded by people that didn't care about their souls?
Oh, that's exactly how, it was portrayed. That because they're not Catholic and they didn't worship the same way we did, that all of them would pretty much be sent to you know where because they did not live a holy life.
Okay. So it's not, this was told to you and that's why you were thinking that way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is what was taught.
So now you're doing all this praying, and this is before I really even talked to you because I wasn't talking to you at that time. So here comes my best friend and he starts talking to you about the Ascended Masters and the teachings.
Let me correct that.
Oh, okay.
Because
Correction, folks.
yes, because I've actually explained this to my husband many times, but he just keeps thinking it's different. I don't know, maybe he's thinking I'm a different person sometimes. But your good friend explained to me, he asked me if I wanted to learn something different that could help my life. And I said yes. He didn't tell me it was the teachings or anything else. And the only thing he explained to me were elementals, what they were, and all he said was that we could control them. Okay.
Oh.
And then one day he takes me to this church, I'm going to call it, and he gives me this purple pamphlet of decrees. And then I asked some questions about who are the pictures of the people, and that's when he told me this is Ascended Master so-and-so, and this is Ascended Master this one. But that's pretty much all I knew. So I just started saying the decrees because he did tell me, say these and you'll see changes in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was pretty much my education from him.
Okay.
Everything else I learned, for all of you listening, came from what my husband shared with me and from information I sought out on my own.
Okay.
And my experience.
Now that we have that correction, let's move on. So now you start saying, well, what were your thoughts when he shared these things with you?
I surprisingly was open to it.
Okay.
When he said Ascended Masters are the saints in the Catholic Church. Well, that makes sense.
Okay.
They're just a different name.
Right.
Because they mastered different things in their life. Okay, that's cool. It was still hard for me to accept that Jesus was an ascended master. I mean, no, he's the Son of God. You can't put him in the same category as those people. But at least I was open to it. And I'd never heard a decree said before. So having that pamphlet, I figured they were just a bunch of prayers. You say it this many times or that many times. So I just went through it with my regular prayers and I started to notice changes in my life.
What kind of changes?
Positive changes. Like things started working out for me.
Well, would you care to give it an example? Giving an example?
I usually had a lot of financial challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to notice that even when the financial challenge was there and I knew it was there, since I had started saying the decrees, like the financial challenge would not go on. Like let's say the rent would be due and I didn't have enough money. Well, then I'd owe my roommate. But now I was at a point where the money would just appear. Like all of a sudden I'd get an extra babysitting job and bam, I'd have the money. I'm like, oh. So I started to notice that things were happening. Things were starting to work out.
And you were just saying the words like a prayer.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So go ahead. So now what? You started noticing that?
Right.
And then what happened?
Then I started working more closely with you.
Okay.
And during those days, we would take one car to go on appointments to meet with clients. And when we'd go in your vehicle, I would hear the decrees. I'm like, wait, I say that. That sounds so different than the way I say it. And I started to get headaches. And you explained to me that that's because I'm not able to handle that frequency. And you'd always turn it off. And I'm like, no, but I want that. Something about it felt good, even though in my mind I was thinking, oh God, please, strike me down with lightning if this is not from you.
Get out of my cup first.
And when I'd pray and go to church, that's what I'd always say. If this is not right, if I should not be doing this, then please make it known to me.
Right.
But then I kept getting exposed to more. So I said, well, this must be right because St. Anthony and St. Jude always answered me when I would pray to them. I'd always get a quick response. So I went based on that, and I just continued.
So now you continued listening to the decree.
Yes.
Or decrees.
Mm-hmm.
Then did you start saying them? Like
yes.
That way that you heard them?
Yes.
How did you do that? Because that's a recording.
You gave me a recording.
Oh, I did. Did you ask for one? I can't imagine just giving you one.
We discussed it, and I said how I'd like to learn how to say it like that.
Okay.
So you gave me a cassette tape from my car.
It's been that long, huh?
Yes, it's been that long.
Okay.
And so I would listen to that one cassette tape over and over and over and over. And I felt really good, especially with the protection decrees, because there were some parts. We were in the area of Chicago and the surrounding suburbs. And there were some areas where I was really afraid to go into because of the crime and other things that I knew of the area. So I'd always put on those protection decrees, and I'd have the volume turned up, and that's all I'd do is sit there focused and just, visualize myself surrounded with Archangel Michael circling my car and stuff. So, yes.
Okay. So let's fast forward because we have a limited time here.
Okay.
So what changes did you notice now that you were saying the decrees, I'd say the proper way? Did you notice any change? Let me change that. Did you notice any change?
I don't know. Looking back, I can, in my mind, as I'm reviewing, I can see the changes that, like a momentum was started, and things happened in a faster pace.
Right.
They resolved more quickly.
And that's what happens. Right, with once you say the decrees the way it's supposed to.
Right. But I was still questioning, and I believed still that, the Catholic Church was the only way, and that these ascended masters fit into the Catholic Church somehow. And I tried to make sense of it and make them all fit.
Well, you just told me that a few days ago, and that's why we're having this conversation, because you said that for the longest time, and I don't even know when you finally maybe just let go of it the other day. Because you said that you thought that the ascended masters were only associated with the Catholic Church, like they were saints there or something, and that's it.
Right. Well, that's because I was told, like El Moria was Abraham. That makes sense. Someone in the Catholic Church. Saint Germain was Saint Joseph, father of Jesus. Okay. Mother Mary. She's Mother Mary. So there was always a correlation as to, like, beloved Kuthumi was St. Francis of Assisi. So that connection was always there. That's why I thought, it's only with the Catholic Church.
And then you found out about Mother Kuan Yin. How did you fit her in?
Well, see, now that one was explained to me. I don't remember who explained it to me, if it was you or one of your friends.
It was me, probably.
But she's like the Mother Mary of the Catholic Church.
I'm the one that told you that.
So I was like, oh, great, another saint, yay. Lord Shiva. Well, he's a protector like Archangel Michael. Great. So that just kept fitting in to what I knew. You just put everybody into the Catholic Church. That's right, because they all came from the Catholic Church. Got it. In my brain. So now what? Well, about 10 years ago, I was at church, and I was kind of frustrated because my husband, we would go to church together, but then life, I'll say, took over, and he was very busy, and he wouldn't come to church with us anymore. And it was just myself and our youngest children. And I thought, well, something needs to change. My husband needs to be coming to church with us. And I would get bothered on Sundays that he wouldn't go to church. And there was one Sunday, I came home from church, and my husband just walked up to me and said, Mother Mary, basically, this is my ghetto version, as my husband calls it, pseudo version of the conversation, my summary of it. Mother Mary said to leave me alone. He said, what have you been talking about? I said, well, it'd be nice for you to go to church. Well, Mother Mary wants you to know that I'm beyond that point. I don't need to be going to church. And if I should be going to church, they will let me know. Oh, I don't remember that. Oh, I do. Because I was shocked. I was floored. I'm like, what? But we're supposed to be raising the kids Catholic, and that's part of the whole Catholic experience, that your parents, that your whole family goes to church together, receives the sacraments together. And you're telling me he's not supposed to be a part of that? Well, not a part of it, but he doesn't have to be that active. How am I going to do this with our youngest children now? Was what was going through my mind. I said, okay, well, let's just get it done. Mother Mary knows better than I do. So, and that's when things really started to change. And that's when, I started learning more about the teachings because of what you were going through and what you were being taught for us to be able to establish the 190Vision community.
Right.
And it's just been awesome since then.
So how has that helped you now? Starting then to now, what's the difference?
Oh, I feel a whole lot better physically, mentally, emotionally. And I've let go, I think, of a majority of the fears that I had. I no longer am afraid of things, and I understand life differently. And I want to make sure I stress that it's an understanding. And that understanding keeps changing as I learn more. And so with my experience now, it is a more positive, more loving experience where I can help others. And I always wanted to help people. You know, when I was a teenager, I was like, well, I guess if I just smile at people like the motivational speakers say, then that will change their life and they won't commit suicide today. But what about tomorrow? Whereas now I'm like, we have tools. I have knowledge that keeps growing that I could use and help others and share with them how they can truly help themselves and change their lives.
And that's the key, right? How they can help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
As they say, as it's written in the Bible. How does it go? Give the man a fish.
And it's teach a man, give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. Something like that.
So
I don't know the Bible, but
it sounds good. You know, for me, I don't. When I was younger, we had to, went to Catholic school, high school, grade school. So you have to know. We had to study religion. That's a subject in the Catholic Church. So, of course, we had to memorize all that. Since then, I don't really remember. So anyway, and that's what happens here at 190Vision.
Right.
See, if you notice, just like you just said, they can receive the help. Mm-hmm. One-time help, they go off, but then what? Something else happens, then they come back again. Mm-hmm. And that's not what we want. That's not our vision. That's why it's called 190Vision. It's where we help someone. In the beginning, we give them the fish because they don't have the fish yet, right? They have to eat.
They don't have the tool to get the fish yet.
There you go. They don't have the tool to get the fish. They don't have the hook or the bait. And while they're getting that and learning how to fish, we supply that for them.
Yes. But
once they learn to do it, then they do it for themselves.
Right.
Then they start to teach other people to fish. Mm-hmm. And that's how it works here. And you've been on that journey because in the beginning, you thought that what I did was special.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I put you in the category of the saints because...
don't say that.
You always do that. But, I didn't know of anyone who could see souls and spirits and relay messages. And and the only reason, again, it's experience. For anyone watching this video, once you've experienced it, it's life-changing. And be able to communicate and relay messages to me from departed loved ones where you had no idea of the situations that they were talking about, that solidified everything for me. And then being able to feel when I'm around you and we're decreeing together the presence of the ascended masters or the angels, that is something else that once you've experienced it, for me, I've experienced it. And there's no one who can tell me that what I've experienced is not real.
And you've also seen it with other people.
I have.
That have been helped.
I have.
By 190Vision.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the knowing part.
Yes.
Right? And you went from someone that was always sick.
Yes.
Had all these headaches and malfunctions with the body, which we won't go into, because they can be quite disgusting. To now, those things pretty much don't exist. Is that right?
That's correct.
So, someone watching this video, what would you tell them? As far as if they're experiencing a feeling of they're lost, or, they're having health challenges or just having challenges, they don't know where to turn, what would you tell them? Or they think maybe there's only one answer, which is just one religion or one practice, whatever that
Like what I used to think. There was only one way.
Right.
Say, just be open and try it. I mean, that's what the Ascended Masters, through many of our trainings, have always said, try it. We're supplying this to you. Now go forth and try it. Implement it. And that's the only way you're going to know what's real, what works for you, is by experiencing it. Go based on your experience.
Go based on experience.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing can be better than experience, like you said.
Exactly.
That creates the knowing.
Exactly.
And here, we talk about implementation.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how individuals will come to 190Vision and they'll say, could you tell me what book I should read or what videos I should watch? And what's our response to that?
No, go do this.
Right.
And experience it. That's how it is. I mean, you could listen to motivational speakers all day long, but until you go and do it yourself, it really won't help or affect you in any way. You have to do it.
Right. Some people love listening.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not about listening, we're about doing.
Right.
So if you really want to change your life, experience something positive in your life, the Ascended Masters are more than happy to help you. Your spirit team, whether or not you believe you have a spirit team, they're ready to help you. And we're here. They guide us and they work with us and then we guide you based on what they tell us until you can do it yourself.
Yep.
But know that it won't be easy. I mean, was your journey easy?
No, it was not easy. And there are still challenging times when my belief system is shaken and I'm like, oh, wait, really? That's how it really works? So but being open to the experience is key to me.
But then how do you accommodate both? What you learn from 190Vision and your Catholic faith?
Oh, well, my understanding is that the Catholic Church was developed by individuals who had a certain understanding of Jesus and his teachings. What I'm learning through the teachings themselves was one aspect that Jesus was trying to get across. So therefore, if I'm listening to someone else, I'm hearing another aspect of it, another part that goes with it, and it all works together. Because that's what God wants, for us to work together, love one another, help one another. So it doesn't make sense for me just to say, oh, it's just the Catholic Church and only the Catholic Church for me. Not anymore, because I see it so much more encompassing than that. When you truly listen to the teachings of Jesus and you get that understanding of what he was really trying to accomplish.
So it's not about the Catholic Church being the best and then Hinduism or Judaism or
Buddhism,
Islamic faith, or
Zoroastrianism, any of those.
That they're all bad.
No, it's not that they're bad at all. They're just different aspects of the teachings.
And if you really pay attention, you'll see that there are very common things between all of them, right?
A lot of similarities.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your experience and your journey with us. And I hope
You're welcome.
Whoever watches this video will find this very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Very intriguing journey.
Yes, and if you haven't done so already, be sure to go to our website, click on the Help Me tab so you can experience this for yourself. Remember to subscribe and like this YouTube video or Spotify podcast. Join the Facebook group 190Vision to connect with others who are on a similar journey. Get help by visiting our website, 190vision.com, then click on the Help Me tab. Support the 190Vision mission by clicking on the Donate button, which is located at the bottom of each page of our website.